Today, we will talk about an illustrator who is one of the brightest artists of the so-called heroic fantasy and fantastic hyperrealism, with an excellent and very recognizable pictorial technique. Her work has played a huge role in popularizing the fantasy genre. Julie Bell was born in the small industrial town of Beaumont, Texas in 1958, the daughter of an architect and an artistically gifted mother. She was encouraged in her artistic development as a child. However, at the age of 12, life changed significantly when her parents divorced and Julie moved to Atlanta with her mother and sisters. The next few years proved itinerant as she attended 5 different high schools, continually adapting to new environments. Moving regularly and changing schools would be a circumstance that would be repeated throughout his life and would mark a large part of her art. Despite these challenges, Julie was introduced to drawing classes during these years and after graduating attended DeKalb County Community College in Atlanta, where drawing became the focus of his studies. Her idols in the world of painting were Leonardo da Vinci, Alphonse Mucha, and N.C. Wyatt. Looking back on that period of her life, Julie commented that she had great teachers at the DeKalb County Community College. It was there that she was first enrolled in the life drawing courses that would become the basis of her later work. She was back to Beaumont, where her father lived and where she enrolled in Lamar University, studying with wildlife artist and professor of painting Jerry Newman. According to Julie, Newman's courses were her first serious life drawing study. In 1978, Julie married a scientist and writer, Donald E. Palumbo. Shortly after their marriage, they moved to Michigan. She maintained her study of art under the direction of the sculptor Wolf Nissen, who emphasized the importance of the psychological aspects of art. The years there were also marked by the birth of Julie's son, Anthony and David. Julie developed a particular interest in children's books and was asked to provide illustrations for 2 publications while she lived in Michigan. Although both books had only local distribution, but it was another step towards a successful professional artistic career. The family moved this time to Ohio in 1983. Julie registered for drawing classes, this time at Lorain County Community College in Elyria near Cleveland. In addition to art courses, she turned her attention to bodybuilding and powerlifting during these years, eventually achieving a national ranking as a competitive female bodybuilder. 4 years later, the family moved again. Chambersburg, Pennsylvania was the destiny, and Julie enrolled in art classes at Shippensburg University, where her husband was then teaching. By this time, their marriage was not going well. Divorce followed and Julie began an entirely new phase of life, raising her sons and to compete in national contests as bodybuilder. When one of the competition promoters suggested that she may be interested in modeling for an artist named Boris Vallejo, Julie agreed. During those modeling sessions, she observed Vallejo's approach to painting, how he used color and what techniques he employed in the process. Subsequently, she decided to ask for his opinion of her own artwork. His response was a suggestion that she slow down and be more patient with her own drawing, taking the time to think more about what she hoped to express. That was the beginning of a more considered artistic process that led Julie into her mature work. Ultimately, Vallejo became both her painting teacher and her partner. They were married in 1994. As she began to take herself more seriously as an artist, Julie started photographing her own models for her paintings. In the late 80s, one of her models was posing for an album cover and asked Julie if she would also create a painting from the photo. Although the painting was not chosen for the album cover, after all, it did catch the attention of the British publisher Hubert Shaftman of Paper Tiger Books, who particularly admired the way that she had utilized shiny chrome textures to paint a living creature. The image became the cover for an issue of Heavy Metal in 1990, and she created a portfolio of 20 fantasy paintings with metal flesh as a theme. The 90s would be the decade where Julie developed extraordinary works of art and would achieve great success. One of those great works would be from the hand of Marvel Comics. She was one of Marvel's regular illustrators, becoming the first woman to paint the covers for Conan. In addition, she illustrated many of the trading cards from that period, including those for the Silver Surfer and Iron Man. It was a reliable income and useful experience in working for a large corporation, what led her to illustrate covers for video games such as Axe Battler, a legend of Golden Axe that would depict the semi-barbaric world that the game took place in. Demon's Crest. This characterization for Capcom would showcase Julie's talents for gothic fantasy. Turrican, a great example of the metal flesh technique that helped make Julie famous. Julie Bell and Vallejo also collaborated on projects for major advertising campaigns beginning in the late 90s, include Ford Motor Company, Nike, Toyota, and Old Spice. Julie's paintings may also be seen of two of Meat Love albums. As the millennium approached, she was working on a series of book covers for the author Jane Linscott. After the success of the first book, Through Wolf Eyes, Julie visited the Lakota Wolf Preserve in New Jersey to photograph the animals directly. She was fascinated not only with the overwhelming experience of being personally close to the wolf, but also with how the animals interacted with each other. Since then, she has been painting scenes of animals and humans interacting. Wildlife and Western has become increasingly important in Julie Bell's works. Images of horses, bison, and of course wolves, often depicted in a Western landscape. Likewise, more exotic species such as lions, zebras, and flamingos have also become the subject of her paintings and drawings. As she expanded the role of wildlife paintings in her work, she realized that there was room for more personal artwork as well as her commercial production. The life of this artist is marked by constant change of city, schools, friends, partners, teachers, and life circumstances in general. But each of these changes brought her experience that helped to exploit her talent and build a style which isn't just the metallic flesh of Amazons and warriors with shiny skin and steel. It is an elegant and sensual image of color and structure, the fluidity of water, the emotionality of the images, and the hardness of steel. The artist's work exudes strength and beauty.